Hi guys, hi. Thanks for joining everybody. Yeah, like Chase said, I'm Kevin Dillon. I'm one of the senior product managers here at Cloud NC. I've been with the company for 18 months, so it's I've been on the sort of the full launch journey of Cam Assist. When I joined the company, we didn't have a product out on the market, so to see where we are today with it's really exciting, and hopefully show you guys some cool stuff today. Show you how far we've come, and so show you through some of the new features and functionality we've got going on.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, we really like to do, I was kind of talking to Kevin before we got started, but demos are really just a great low pressure, low stakes kind of way to just introduce you guys and familiarize yourself with new products. And this is a product that NextGen fully endorses. We actually sell it collaboratively with Cloud NC. So if you're looking to get Fusion software or anything else related to Fusion, we can help you get onboarded with Cam Assist as well. So I'll have some more information just at the end of the webinar, just how to get started with us. But I really just wanted to bring in the expert himself to be able to really just show you guys live just how it works and how it might be able to benefit you. So I'll have some questions, but if you guys have any questions that you that just come up as we're walking through this, I know we'll have a little bit of downtime at certain portions of the demo. Feel free to just put them either in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'll get to them. So yeah, without further ado, Kevin, go ahead and kick
Yeah,
us
cool.
off.
So I will share my screen. So today what we're going to do is we are going to run through a very simple three-axis part just to get us kicked off. So anybody who's not familiar with Cam Assist, how it works, and everything kind of gets a real feel for the product early on. Then we'll go through a bit more of a complicated 3+2 part, show off some of our avoidance geometry functionality, look at our cutting parameters AI engine, and then eventually move on into our cycle time estimator and our soft draw generator. So Cam Assist lives inside the manufacturing tab of Fusion. And I'm just going to open a really simple, like I said, 3-axis demo part. Let's open up Cam Assist. So Cam Assist needs a setup to run, but beyond that, that's all you need. Don't necessarily need a fixture. Does run without. So we need several parameters to run with Cam Assist. We need tool library, the material, and the machine you're running. So tool libraries, we have a couple of built-in libraries that come with the software. Other than that, we read the local and cloud tool libraries in your machine shop. This part will run our inch library. Material, these are the materials that we support in Cam Assist: aluminum, brass, low carbon, high carbon steel, stainless, and titanium. And we are looking at adding the ability to add custom materials in the near future as well. And then your machine, again, we read from your Fusion machine library, and we use these machine parameters in the generation of our cutting data. So if you don't have any presets available within your tool library, Cam Assist will use its AI engine to generate presets for you, and this is the information that we use to do that. But like I said, 3-axis part, we also have 3+2, which we'll come on to in a moment. And with my work on security in my setups, if I, for any reason, want to use smaller tools, less aggressive strategies, if I've machined away a lot of material in the first operation, if you've got 2 ops, I've got some flimsy walls, you can kind of turn this down and we'll use less aggressive tools and less aggressive strategies. But in the meantime, we'll just hit run and we'll generate some toolpaths really quickly just for this part here. So we're going to push these strategies back into Fusion in just a sec. So we've got 12 different operations for this part, which we're loading up now.
So you know it's live.
So we've got our completion message there, and we've now put all the strategies back into Fusion. So Fusion's now doing the work. So Cam Assist is the work for Cam Assist is over. We put all of our strategies in a nice sort of tree format, so you can very quickly and easily see what which your roughing strategies are: flat wall, hole making, and then once the roughing is just finished now. So these are strategies we've developed for this 3-axis part. So it's that's as simple as it is to use, just to generate strategies for a really, really simple 3-axis part. What we'll do now, open up a 3+2. So we've got an aircraft bracket here. And this time I've got two ops. So I've got first operation here and second operation, which is the main part of the bracket, which we're going to look at. So for op one, as you can see, I don't necessarily actually want to machine all of this part down here. So I'm going to want to complete these operations in our second setup. So I've used our new avoidance geometry feature to automatically generate this fixture here underneath to hold the part. And now what I do when I open Cam Assist, I can actually identify that avoidance geometry, so make sure Cam Assist doesn't machine those areas. So almost like a no mill zone, to make sure we can protect the integrity of the part. And we will then go on to complete those in the second operation when the avoidance geometry is not present. Just load up Cam Assist now. So again, this time I'm going to select, going to keep my parameters above exactly the same. And this time I'm going to come into my 3+2 axis machining mode. So I've got a couple of options, how to select my machining direction with 3+2. I can use the XYZ axis. So this is where Cam Assist will use X positive and negative, and Z positive and Y positive negative to create the strategies. We have a fully automatic, so Cam Assist will generate those strategies to the best of its ability. Or we have user defined, which is, to be honest with you, my preferred method. However, the demo is not letting me click on user defined. Let's come in again.
Hey, we did have a question from one of our Fusion experts actually. They were curious, you already have this, Cam Assist is already set up here, obviously, but from like first time purchase to actually getting that in their instance of Fusion, what is that setup process like and how long does it take?
So it's really simple. It's a straightforward installer file, and most users are up to speed and onboarded within about an hour's training.
Hmm.
So there's some configuration with the tool library to make sure that your presets and parameters match if you want Cam Assist to use your presets. If you're happy for the AI engine to generate the presets for you, then you can be up and running literally as quick as I was here
Hmm.
just now. If you want to use the built-in library on your parts, you can sort of start generating strategies as quick as that.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
But again, like if you we've got a full suite of documentation, help videos, YouTube channel, which contains a lot of content to support users. But obviously, like next gen guys can also give you a hand with any additional training requirements you've got.
Awesome. Yep.
Cool. So I've got into my 3+2 mode. I've got my user defined. So from here now, I can select the directions that I want to machine from and the faces I want to machine. So for this part here, I simply just want to enter the top. So I click on the top face. And then for my second setup, I'm just going to rotate underneath the part and turn off my work holding a second. I can select these faces here. So this time I want to select bottom of the part, and I'm going to come in either side. My tools are going to approach from those directions there. Again, if I wanted to, I can adjust my work hole and security. We can see we've got the avoidance geometry that I showed earlier selected, and Cam Assist will now avoid those areas. So I just hit run. So what Cam Assist is doing at this point is it's going up and taking the part geometry, the tool library data, the machine library data, and all of the other constraints that we give it, and generating a strategy which is based on the geometric data of that part. So we don't look at any features, we look at all the different geometry and physics of the part to generate that strategy. So all that work goes on by the cloud, hence Cloud NC, using our AI algorithms. And then once we, as you saw with the first part, once we're finished, we put all that result back into Fusion. And then that's the work done of Cam Assist then. You, as a user, can then go in, interrogate the part, interrogate the strategies that have been created. If you want to make any adjustments to them, you can do. The tool is obviously called Cam Assist for a reason. It's not going to get you 100% part completion, We are really confident that we get anywhere between sort of 50 to 90% of the way there, sometimes 100% of the way there for simple parts, to really, really take um, the bulk of the work out of programming. Got big problems in machine shops all over the world, a shortage of programmers, um, people stretched for time, lack of education, new blood coming into the industry. So we need to really maximize the time and the experience of the individuals that we've got, to let them actually concentrate on other problems they have, other things they need to sort out in the machine shops. And tools like Cam Assist, the cycle time estimator that we've got will hopefully allow users to do that. So it's a slightly more complicated part, so it's going to take a little bit longer than the first one.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, I have a question for you. So earlier this month, we had done kind of a focus on just job shops. We had a webinar on job shops. We have, some content going out about job shops for people like that own a job shop and they have kind of a lot of different styles of parts. How is that a good fit for Cam Assist? Do you see that as being beneficial to them? I mean, how does it help speed up their programming process with just all the different varied parts?
Yeah, I mean massively. I mean, if you've got sort of high volume parts and you need to really, really, turn around programming really quickly, this reduces the amount of time you will spend sat at your computer.
Mm,
Um, when I come on to like the cycle time estimator later on, if you're a small shop, you're normally one or two men dealing with a whole host of problems, and you need to buy yourself as much time as possible.
mm,
Hopefully, in this webinar, what we'll do is we'll demonstrate how we can make a CAM program, estimate a load of parts, generate some soft jaws, actually maximize and optimize my programs all within half an hour, 45 minutes. Now I know we're doing it on the fly, but that's, that very much the essence of what CAM Assist can do is,
mm,
try and cover as many of the processes that we have and we find in sort of small machine shops. Cloud NC speak from experience. We have our own factory. The reason we have our own factory is not just to validate our technology, but to actually understand the challenges of one or two man cells operating in an environment. What are the time constraints? What are the biggest pain points? What are the problems? And then we can attack those. So as well as speaking to like our wide user base and various shops all over the world, we also have the ability to validate that in our factory just outside London.
Awesome. No, that's really cool when when you're a company that creates a product more for yourself and then shares it with the world. We did actually have one more question that just came in from Jim. How often does the AI database get updated? And is the data hand selected from toolpaths that have worked on machines, or is there another method for updating the engine?
So what we do with the engine doesn't actually learn any of the toolpaths, doesn't learn from parts or anything like that. We run So we work with Fusion, we work with Autodesk to make sure that we're mapping the best toolpath to the best operation. So our teams will look at the available toolpaths, look at the available geometry, and our algorithms will calculate it from there. In terms of updates from the software, we are on version 18 since we launched. So that's sort of that was back in June last year. So we kind of, on average, cadence of probably, every 4 to 5 weeks, we produce a new update and fresh update of new features within the software. And that could be new updated toolpaths, that could be different UI functionality, that could be big features like the cycle time estimator. We're VC backed, we've got a big development team here in the UK. And like I said, supplemented by the factory, supplemented by the users, myself and the other 4 members of the product team, constantly speaking to machine shops to understand what those problems are and what those areas of development are, which lead into those 4 or 5 week release cycles of updates. So as you can see now, we've got our strategy for this part. Our avoidance geometry hasn't machined anything down here, apart from our holes. So the avoidance geometry is intelligent enough to know that it's not really there. So essentially, we know that as this strategy, we will want to actually drill those holes. So we have done because we've got the space to come out the bottom. Cam Assist understands where the fixture is and where the fixture is in place, so avoids it and avoids any collisions. But there, subsequently, if you add any avoidance geometry, it is intelligent enough to know that it's not actually really there. So that's our first setup. Again, we've got our nice sort of tree structure folders, and we're just waiting for Fusion to calculate our second setup now. So just even without the roughing strategy, we can come in here and we have our flats, our wall finish, our hole making on op2, freeform, chamfer, and deburring strategies. So one of the other new features of Cam Assist is you can now start interrogating and understanding your feeds and speeds using our AI cutting parameters engine, using the cutting parameters explorer. So you can right click on any operation and open the cutting parameters explorer. So we conduct extensive data modeling, research, experimentation on the physics and dynamics of toolpaths, tooling, and all those strategies here at CloudNC. So what we can then allow users to do is come in and interrogate and understand what those cutting data actually looks like. So this is our feed and speed for this particular operation. It's a flat finishing operation. So if I want to increase the productivity, CamAssist safely believes if I want to ramp up my productivity, this is a feed and speed that I can run. If I wanted to increase my tool life and preserve my tools and run things a little bit slower, CamAssist can then intelligently tell me this is the speed I can run. But if we leave it somewhere in the middle, I can actually then come down and fine tune further aspects and elements of it. So if I really wanted to interrogate my cutting data and limit my depths and widths of cut or my surface roughness, I can play with these constraints and everything else is then adjustable with all the other parameters that you can see. So if I want to decrease my chip load, it will then reflect on everything else and alter my other parameters. You can then save that operation back to your operation, regenerate it. So if you want to optimize your cycle time, you can come in here, ramp up your productivity, and then save the operation back to Cam Assist. And you can do that against any operation that you've any toolpath strategy that's been generated by Cam Assist. So that's our 3+2 functionality. I mean, is there any other questions at this point around that? Or are we all good, Chase?
I think we are good there. Yep. Yep. Nothing else come in, but I'll let you know when they do.
Great, no problem. So what we'll do now is we'll come on to the other new feature of Cam Assist, something you may have raised earlier, which is the cycle time estimator. So we'll open up, also lives in the Cam Assist ribbon. And the purpose of the cycle time estimator is to really tackle that big challenge in the machine shop, which is estimation and creating the time for estimation. We added this feature, and this is version 1 of this particular feature, after speaking to a number of users who challenged us to say, you know, we want to use Cam Assist for estimation. We currently use Cam Assist for estimation. How can we really maximize the way we operate it and make it even more faster and efficient? What we learned was, you know, typically you're going to be estimating 5 times the number of parts you're actually producing because, you know, you unfortunately don't win all the work that you quote. So we wanted to try and speed up and make this process far more efficient. So you can select any number of up to 10 files, step files. They don't have to have a setup already in place. I'm just going to select some of these. So I'm going to select 3 files just for the purpose of speed for the demo. Again, you can select your tool library, stock and machine, and your machining mode. At the moment, these have all got to be the same. So you've got to have like a family of 3-axis parts or a family of 3+2 parts to run the cycle time estimator. But what we're doing at the moment now is developing on this functionality based on user feedback to expand the offering so you can kind of, you know, bulk upload a lot of parts and then select different materials and different operations at once. And then quite simply hit run. And Cam Assist will now cycle through all of the parts. It will open them up. It will generate a setup if it needs to generate a setup for those parts. And then it will begin to run the operations and start generating toolpath strategies at once. At this point, your hands off. You can go away, worry about something else in the shop. Even if you've bought yourself a little bit of time, go get yourself a cup of coffee while Cam Assist does the work.
I did have one more question. You might have already kind of talked a little bit about it, but was how much can I customize the Cam Assist or the tool paths that Cam Assist creates?
Cool, yeah, great question. So what I will do in the next part after this, You can go in and use some of the advanced settings to dictate some of your finishing strategies. If you want a 2D contour, if you have the manufacturing extensions, you best select steep and shallow toolpaths. So you can kind of configure that before you run Cam Assist. But the beauty of it is it's an assistant. The reason we put it back into Fusion is you're not trying to learn a whole new CAM package. You're not trying to learn a whole new system or process. It is generally like having like an assistant or a junior programmer taking the bulk of the work out of it for you. So if there is part of the output that you want to change, you can go and change it. You know, if there's a particular tool you want to change because you know it's snapped in the carousels, you can't use it anymore, and Cam Assist has picked it up already, you can go and change that and make the changes to the tools and make changes to the tool paths as you see fit.
Perfect. Okay. And we had one more question. Are there any plans for custom databases for users to feed their programs back into the system to output toolpaths that more closely match their proven parts/projects?
If I interpret right, that's almost like probably us potentially like reading users templates and things like that. Not at the moment. We are looking at trying to understand how users now want canvases to learn, how users want to interrogate their old toolpaths and learn from their presets and learn from what they've done. That's work that we're just starting to discover as a product team at the moment. But yeah, it's certainly sort of something we'll be looking at into like 2025.
Awesome. Yeah, I would I'd be curious at the once we get to the end just to understand, yeah, what's at the top of your priority list, for future updates and stuff like that. But we can get to that later.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so we're loading so cycle time estimators done a bit of work. It's just currently loading the operations back in for the various parts now. And then what we will do is we'll be able to show you a report, and we will show you how you can make any changes that you want to see, understand the cycle time outputs per operation, and be able to get yourself a CSV report, which can then go in and feed into your ERP systems or feed into your quoting systems. Just doing the final part now. Well, I suppose just while waiting for this to load, I'll probably just I'll tackle your question, Chase, of what's coming
Yeah, definitely.
up in the near future. Now, so we are very, very shortly going to be releasing a big update to our roughing strategies. We've been doing a lot of sort of work in the background to really improve um, the relationship between roughing and finishing. So that will be coming out hopefully just post IMTS. Like I said earlier, working on custom materials. So if a user's material is not supported within our current database, they'll be able to add their materials and run with their presets. And then also multiple tool libraries. So at the moment, Cam Assist it has a one-to-one relationship with a folder structure and a tool library. And a lot of machine shops have well-structured tool libraries that have say all your chamfer tools are in one folder or your deburring tools are in one folder. So we'll be able to read all of those tools in multiple different folders. So they're the sort of immediate things coming up post IMTS. Like I said, we're on version 1 here of the cycle time estimator. So we're making a UI overhaul for the cycle time estimator so users have a better experience of using it, as well as sort of giving some more information over above what we already produced in the report. So that will be kind of like pulling in machine tool change times, and things like that, so users can really get into the nitty gritty of their cycle times output.
Awesome. It's always good to know just what to expect.
Yeah, they're the near term things. As we work long term, we get high volume requests for turning, and turning is something as a company we've not tackled just yet. Politely, it's not as a complicated problem as milling. The combinations are not as intense, but it is something hopefully we'll be looking to address for our users in 2025.
Awesome.
So we complete our estimation report for these 3 parts. What I can then do is go back into the Cam Assist ribbon and open back up my cycle time estimator once again. and I can actually have a look and interrogate my report. So I can either run another estimate now, or I can come in here and look at my 3 different parts and get my cycle time output for those parts. I can actually have a look per operation. So I'm spending that amount of time on my wall finishing, and these are the tools I'm using. And actually, if I want to go in and adjust that, I can now go in and overwrite that. If I want to add a bit of a risk factor onto it, I think that's a bit aggressive, I think it's too conservative, I can go in and make those changes. Once I've done that, I can come into a report. This gives us information about the stock size, the part volume, and the bounding box for this particular part and for each of those parts that were within the estimate. And then once I've done that, I can actually come in and export this information. So if I know I want to produce 10 of these, 15 of these, and 25 of these, this is now my total cycle time for each of those parts. So I can then go away and actually input all that information into my quotation, and then send it off to my customer. So that's our cycle time estimator. And finally, I will show you our soft draw generator. So fixture generation is one of the challenges that we've identified with our users that they need some assistance on. And soft draw generation is where we've started with that. So we have a part here. And again, just opening up in the Canvas Driven, we've got our fixture management and soft draw designer. So with our soft draw designer, we just need to select our part. We don't have any pre-existing jaws. We can select the spindle direction, so we know where the spindle's coming in from, and the jaw opening direction. Just select this one here. We can then adjust the geometry of the jaws if we wish, so we can make them a little bit longer. So in this instance, just adjust some of the heights and the gaps. And then we can also adjust the corner relief drill size if need be. And we'll turn off interlock prevention for this one. And we hit OK, and we will generate a set of soft jaws for this part. Oh, something's gone quite wrong, not gone quite right there. Try a different one now. Come in, we'll try this one, sorry. So our parts, our spindle direction, our jaw opening direction. This time I will do multi-level because I do have some different Z levels on my jaws. And as you can see, we've generated some soft jaws for this part here. And actually we've taken into account as well on the part, we have different levels. So the soft jaws have taken into account the different levels of the jaws, and also then automatically created those jaws for that part, which we can then obviously go away, machine, and then go on and machine our part. So we are looking at further sort of fixture automation in terms of snap out design in the near future as well. You're on mute, Chase.
I keep kind of smiling to myself just because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like I'm just imagining the amount of time it would take to actually do this, each of these operations kind of manually or just as a human versus just running the program, you know, setting a couple parameters and setting the program. So no, it's really cool to see this stuff. It's one thing
Yeah,
to
so
kind
I
of
mean,
show it, but or to kind of talk about it, but it's a whole other thing to just to show it. So yeah, I appreciate you
yeah,
showing.
yeah, no problem. I think like, we are just getting started. The company, we released the first, like I said, first product 18 months ago, but we have a long way to go. We know we haven't solved the problem in full. It's a challenging problem to solve. And we're kind of committed to delivering, you know, process improvements to manufacturing. Yeah, these are the starting with the estimation. We're starting on fixed generation now. We're constantly improving our strategy output. So yeah, it's a really, really, exciting time to start for users to start with the journey with Cloud NC and start to use the CAM Assist.
Awesome. Does that conclude our demo, or is
It
there?
does, yeah, it
Awesome.
absolutely
Okay.
does.
Well, hey, that's it's I think the shorter the webinar in this case, the kind of the it speaks more to just the power of Cam Assist. So well, I won't keep anyone too much longer. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can just email me or Kevin directly after. If you're just looking to get started or have, maybe a little bit more specific questions or needs that you just like to kind of schedule something a little bit more one-on-one, you can do that by just following the link that I'm throwing in the chat. Any one of those will do. And just fill out the form there. Just say, hey, saw the Cam Assist webinar. Want to talk to someone. We will point you in the right direction, get something scheduled for next week. And yeah, and then just go from there. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Kyle. Really appreciate Kyle was in the chat. Really appreciate you, Kevin, taking the time to just run us through this on a Friday evening for you out there in the UK. Everyone, thanks for joining. Have a good Friday, and we will talk to you all next time.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks all. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks.